Remember your strawberry plants just a couple of months ago? That berry favorite with seemingly endless bounty all summer long. Raised beds, pots, plots, containers, this shallow-rooted powerhouse requires very little from us, but gives back so much. On top of that, strawberry plants are perennial, coming back year after year after year, yielding more and more berries each time. Having said that, there are a few things that you can do this fall to ensure that the plants you have growing right now come back even better next spring. Like we said, strawberries are perennials. Cold climate plants going dormant in the winter, coming back the following spring. If this is something they do all on their own, why do we have to intervene? I mean, why should we do anything at all to prepare them for the coming winter? Well, there's 3 reasons. First, strawberry plants set next year's flower buds in the fall. Exposure to temperatures below 15 degrees Fahrenheit can damage or kill those buds, even if the main plant survives. Another reason is frost heaving. This is a natural annual process every winter where the cycle of freezing and thawing soil causes upward swelling of that first few inches. Being an extremely shallow-rooted plant, strawberries can actually be uprooted and exposed to the brutal winter. And unlike the frosty buds being an annoying setback, this one can actually be lethal to the plants. And the third reason that we have to intervene and protect our strawberry plants before winter hits is competition, both from weeds and the plants themselves. Now is the time to reset your strawberry plants, observing the spacing rules that we applied when we first planted them. Left unchecked, your strawberry mother plants will overproduce themselves both by runners and by multiplying their crowns. Couple this with any weeds that may have taken hold, and you may find your strawberry plants being choked out. In which case, production is obviously going to suffer. Fortunately, all 3 of these things are easy fixes. So let's get our gloves on and get to work. Now, what you do with your strawberries in late fall, early winter depends on where you live. If you live in a climate where the worst your winter has to offer hovers around freezing or maybe just below, you don't really have to do anything. Other than weeding the area around your plants and possibly dividing and replanting the crowns as your strawberry plants begin to grow and outcompete themselves, there's not much you need to do. The biggest concern for a mild climate like that would be to keep the patch weed-free, as well maintain those adult strawberry plants so that they don't overgrow and overcrowd themselves. Left unchecked, strawberry plants will continue to grow and grow, using up all the available space around them and eventually overcrowding themselves. So if your patch or container has started to become unruly, or worse, unproductive, then no matter what your climate is, you're going to need to take action. The solution for this is to divide and replant. The process is simple because strawberries are so shallow-rooted. Go ahead and gently dig up your main strawberry plants, dividing them into the best crowns. Replant the strongest ones at 6 to 10 inches for container plants and 12 to 18 inches for large raised beds and plants in the ground. The key for this though is timing, and it must be done early in the fall. You need to do strawberry mother plant division and replanting 4 to 8 weeks before your first fall frost date. There needs to be enough time for the plants to reestablish themselves. If it's too close to winter, it's too late. You can't divide these guys up. But if you did get there in time, try to pick out the best ones and remember not to bury them. Strawberry plants are planted right at the surface. Honestly, that's all you really have to do to maintain your strawberry plants if your climate is mild enough. Even snow won't damage the plants. In fact, it's a great insulator. I would mulch for soil protection, but that's not unique to strawberry plants. I always mulch. Okay, now we get into it. If you experience winters that go below 20 degrees Fahrenheit, those first two things that we talked about earlier are going to be an issue. Strawberries can take the cold, but they're not designed to be exposed. Strawberry plants are built to be insulated. Insulated by both leaves from itself and other plants, as well as by snow. In our pots and beds, that usually doesn't happen as efficiently as it does in nature, so we need to take action to protect the plants. But the key with strawberry winter preparation is timing. We can't do winter preparation on our strawberries too early because we need them to go into dormancy. Like we said, strawberries set next year's fruit in the fall. If they get too warm and the plants break bud before winter even hits, that's bad. You can kiss next year's production goodbye. So if your flower buds pop now before winter even hits, that's it. That's your next year's fruit. Because of this, I don't start to winterize my strawberries until after a couple of hard frosts. Really set those plants into dormancy. You can weed at any time, but unless you're dividing the plants because they're overgrown, don't do anything until they've experienced a couple of frosts, at least. Weeding, however, can be done at any time. As long as you're careful not to disturb the mother plants too much, weeding now, right before winter dormancy, is ideal. We have the time, well, more than we do in the spring, and other than this epic dock here with a 2-foot long taproot, most weeds should come up without a fight. Now, protecting your strawberries from frost or exposure damage, as well as frost heaving, is simple. You just mulch. How much and how deep depends on where you live and how cold it's going to get. And one quick note on potted or container strawberry plants before we continue. If you live in an area that's going to get below 20 degrees Fahrenheit for an extended period of time, forget about overwintering these guys in pots. Unless you can protect them and keep them insulated without warming them up and breaking dormancy, you're better off growing them in the ground. There just isn't a big enough thermal buffer to keep those strawberry plants alive when the temperatures dip. Okay, now that we're certain that the plants are entering dormancy or have already done so, we can mulch. Many people, myself included, will clean the plants off of old leaves and trim the foliage right down. It's not completely necessary, but it does do two things. One, it gives you a clearer view of what's happening in terms of weeds and whether or not your plants are being crowded and may need to be divided. And two, your mulch, likely straw, is a far better insulator than the rotting wet leaf layer that the plants are leaving behind. Those rotting leaves can actually clump, surround the new buds, freeze, and do damage. A lot of people just leave them in place with great success, but honestly, I like to get rid of them. How much straw you use is going to depend on where you live. I can get away with 1 to 2 inches for my strawberries because I live in zone 9. But if you live in a zone 7 or cooler, 3 to 4 inches of mulch on top of your strawberries isn't out of the question. Once they've gone dormant and you've trimmed the leaves, don't worry about putting too much mulch on. That'll never be a problem. Any excess can simply be gently raked off in the spring, right when the plants are sending up new leaves. For me, because I only use 1 to 2 inches of straw, I just leave it in place all year long, and the plants grow up right through it the following spring. It prevents any new weeds from forming, and it sets up the plants nicely for next year. All right, strawberries are an important crop to us. I get that. And a lot of our success for next year's garden is going to depend on how well these guys do. So let's have a quick recap on the concepts and how we deal with winterizing strawberries for the home gardener. Strawberries are a cold climate perennial requiring little but diligent maintenance. They grow and spring back to life on their own every year, but eventually your patch is going to outgrow itself and need attention. But really, overwintering this amazing berry is easy and just involves specific depths of straw mulch based on how cold your climate gets. The key with the mulch is not to apply it too early, as the plants need to be triggered into dormancy. When you break it down, that maintenance of your patch, as well as the timing of the mulch, are the two biggest factors for continued strawberry success. Strawberries are one of the most prolific crops we grow. Each year seems to get better than the previous. If you can protect your patch from the harshness of winter and set it up for success at the same time, you'll no doubt be swimming in strawberries next season. I've got quite a few patches to do, and I've only just started, so I better get to work. But I hope to see you and your strawberries next spring. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate the support more than you know. And if you're getting value from these videos, please like and share them to spread the word and help your fellow gardener to grow better.